In a surprising turn of events, the Bulls beat the Pistons, Warriors fall to the Clippers, and the Bucks are back in the winning column. Today, we go over yesterday's matchups and all the surprises. We preview the NBA Emirates Cup stage group games and we give our predictions as well. Also, we will take a deeper look at the Hornets versus the Nets. What the Hornets need to win? We'll go over that. This and more here and Phantom Basketball. Let's get it. Thank you. Welcome back to Phantom Basketball. This is the podcast, your everyday podcast for your NBA needs. We'll go over games, matchups, and reviews, and players, and everything in between. If you don't forget, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on all your social media platforms. Now, in the next segment that we're going to go over, we're going to preview the Emirates NBA Cup stage group matches. Today we start at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for the group match stage match for the NBA Cup, and we have the Cavaliers versus the Celtics. That is falls into a must-watch game. You have to watch this game. This is going to be a really good game. You have the Cavaliers going undefeated, which my prediction Celtics are going to take it. The Cavaliers one that don't want that smoke anymore about having them being undefeated because then it adds pressure to having a very long record and adding it to a championship run. So Cavaliers Celtics must watch game today. Then you have the Hornets versus Nets. Again, you can watch all these games on NBA League Pass. So if you subscribe, again, hashtag not sponsor, but you can watch all these games on NBA League Pass. Then we have Hornets versus Nets, Nuggets versus Grizzlies, Pelicans versus Mavericks, Thunder versus Spurs, which it's going to be their third game, and you know what it is. That is a must game to watch. Then you have Jazz versus Lakers. Going over our predictions, we have again for the Cavaliers versus the Celtics. We taking on the Cavaliers. For the Hornets versus the Nets, we got the Hornets. For the Nuggets versus Grizzlies, we have the Grizzlies. Pelicans versus Mavericks, we're taking the Mavericks. Thunder versus Spurs, we're taking OKC. Then we have Jazz versus Lakers, we're taking the Lakers. Thoughts, real quick thoughts. Pelicans, Hornets. We'll go over that in the next segment over the Hornets versus Nets. You already heard my thoughts on the Cavaliers. Let's go Nuggets Grizzlies. Grizzlies are playing good. Nuggets are playing well. They are a favorite team, I think, still. Didn't sleep on them, but the Grizzlies are looking dynamic. So I think they're going to be an upset for the Nuggets. Mavericks versus Pelicans. Pelicans just don't look like a team right now. The Pelicans look discombobulated. They have talent. Okay, they have talent. They're missing talent. They are fighting. They have heart, but I don't think that this could be sustainable. Pelicans are also one of those teams that I think they should definitely consider trading, blowing it up. I think the Zion Williams project did not help. CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram. Um, I think it's time to start exploring trades for Zion. Whoever would be willing to take that massive contract and injury prone player. Um, it's always gonna be a what if. It's been 5 years of what if with him, so I don't think it's gonna change. Um, but from there to Pelicans should start looking into possibly blowing it up. Mavericks, they're just one defensive player for being a contender. They're playing well. They have all their PJ Washingtons back. So they have. I take the Mavericks taking on this one. For the Thunder versus Spurs, Wemby got. I'm taking OKC just because they're playing more adhesively and it's working. Now it looks like they're slowing down, but I think it's just a matter of them getting back into rhythm. I think they are gonna start taking some losses to the mid, but I do think they're gonna be a playoff team, and I think they're gonna do a deep run this season. Spurs, there's, I think this might not be their season. They might make a playoff surprise, but I don't think this is their season. Next season for sure they're gonna be a contender. But for today's game, just wait there's where they stand, even though they're both teams are playing well. Coming off, I think the Spurs are coming off from a loss and the Thunder are coming off from a win. I'm taking the Thunder just because of how they stand today. NBA, for the Jazz versus Lakers, we're taking Lakers. Jazz, I mean, they have some upsets here and there, but they're not a very competitive team at this moment. And just to go see the standings real quick, again, we have for the Eastern Conference, we have Cavaliers at 1, so with 15 wins, Celtics at 2. We have Magic at 3, Knicks at 4, Seahawks, the Hawks at 5, Heat at 6, 7 Pistons, Pacers 8, Bulls 9, and then the Hornets at 10. That is your play-in. We got the Nets 11, Bucks at 12, Raptors 13, Wizards 14, and then all the way in the bottom with 2 wins, 11 losses, the 76ers. Uh, again, I think they're gonna have to run it back next year. I think they should go into tanking mode, saving their pieces, seeing what the young core can do. Get some play with Paul George, Embiid, Maxi. Get them going. Just get them through the season. But I think that they should at this moment call it a day, and try to get some pieces for the trade deadline to start preparing for next season. For the Western Conference, we have the Thunder at number 1, Warriors at 2, Lakers 3, Rockets 4. The Suns at 5, Nuggets at 6, Grizzlies at 7, Timberwolves at 8, Clippers at 9, Kings at 10, Mavericks at 11, Spurs at 12, Trailblazers 13, Pelicans 14, and Jazz 15. I think, again, Jazz should continue developing their players for this season. Pelicans should blow it up. I think it's time for them to blow it up. We might come out with a video in terms of what they can get, who potential trade teams that they can go into soon. But yeah, Pelicans and Bucks are the two teams that definitely should be looking into blowing it up for this season. Thank you so much again for listening. For listening to Fan Zone Basketball. This is your host Lou. Going into the third segment. Coming up on the third segment, we have deep dive on the Hornets versus Nets. What the Hornets need to do to win. Let's get it.
Artlist.io.
All right. Welcome back to the last segment. We're reviewing the Hornets versus Nets. What the Hornets need, what they're looking like, what's going on with Lamelo. What do they need? What do they need in order to win? Now, I was going through here and I'm looking at. Okay, I sorry about that. I was looking at I was trying to get into setting up, and then I accidentally saw that they have unfortunate news for the Charlotte Hornets. Lamelo Ball ahead of the Brooklyn matchup. I think this is clickbait. I think this is going to be the $100,000 fine that they got. Um, but we'll see. All right, real quickly, let's go back. Okie dokie. I know they got me. They got me for sure. Let's see what we have. All right. So we have the Charlotte Hornets versus the Brooklyn Nets. Is this a winnable game? Of course it is. It is a very winnable game for them. The Hornets are playing really well, and um, they're currently in Group East Group A. They are the fourth with one loss. They can get back in there with one win. Those are going to be direct matchups against Knicks and Nets. Um, what's going on here? Trying to get the players. Okay. So yeah, what they need to do, what they need for today. The Hornets are gonna need Lamelo to go off, and they're gonna need Brandon Miller to go off. I'll go over the injury report, but it looks like they don't have. Um, they currently don't have all their players back, which is not good. They they're missing a lot. Their centers, they're playing with no centers. If they had if they had if they had centers, I think there would be a different team. They do not have centers, and that you can see that when they're playing, they get dominated in the paint. Now, Diabante has come in and um, definitely show has definitely shown some brilliances. Should he get more playing time? I think he should. They should just let him run, and I think Lamelo will definitely do more to up to help him out in that sense. But let's see what we have in terms of injuries for Brooklyn Hornets versus Brooklyn. We have Jeffries out with a right hand, Richards with a rib, and Mark Williams with foot are out. Trey Man is questionable. Well, okay, we might get Trey Man. This is good. If the Hornets where we get Trey Man, that brings us the sixth man of the year right there. Um, and it's going to help a lot. It's going to help out, open up the space. The Nets have to respect the drive. Now, Miller is due for a comeback game. This has to be it. LaMelo has to perform the way he has been performing, dropping that 36, 40, finally dropping maybe a 40 pointer or 45 pointer game. He has to perform. He will perform because he's been really consistent. But Brandon Miller has to perform. This has to be his comeback game. This has to be that click that we saw against the Pacers. They have to have that. They have to have the 1-2 punch. It has to be the one punch Miller or Trey man, and then you know letting Melo take over that fourth, and we'll win games. So what the Hornets need to do is play bigger than they are. They need to win defensive boards, and offensive boards. They need to be consistent in scoring. They need to score. They can. They have to limit the amount of possessions, offensive possessions they have with zero scores. And Brandon Miller would be a key thing, a key player into this Hornets win. I know Lamelo will carry the team, but Brandon Miller has to come and have a bounce back game, and this has to be it. They have to show this is the time to show. They're going into 15 games into the season. This is the time to show out. Brooklyn. What do we have on Brooklyn in terms of players? Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Cameron Johnson, Sire Williams, Nick Claxton, Bojan Bogdanovic, Jalen Wilson, Noah Conley, Keon Johnson, Shake Milton, Jordan Failing Smith, Derek Whitehead, Tyrese Martin, Jalen Martin, Trendon Watford, Aaron Sharp, and Kui Zhongxi. Uh, let's see if we can get some standings. No, no stats. Okay, no stats for us, I guess. Um, Heading back into the game. Yeah. Don't know much about the Brooklyns. I've seen one game, and that's partial. Can't talk much about it, but I think this is a winnable game for the Hornets. But the Hornets do have to come in and be productive. Stay busy on the hands, get those the defensive boards, offensive boards, and limit the turnovers, and limit the amount of 0 point possessions, offensive possessions. And I think that should be good. And then Brandon Miller, key player, Brandon or Trayman have to go off, or maybe Melo dropping maybe 60 points. Who knows? But Melo can't be the only one going off. Somebody has to help him. Brandon Miller next up. You got to go off. And as long as the bench produces over 30 points together, I think they will be fine. But they do need. This is one of those games where Brandon can go off, and Brandon Miller should go off, needs to go off. This is this is the bounce back game for him. Again, very winnable game. Okay. And now you can also laugh at me all you want, but it's a winnable game. This has to be the game where where he actually learns how to up the switch. This has to be the game. We saw what it can do against the Pacers. Again, this is the game. BMB, Brandon Mello and Eminem, Mello and Miller. They have to, they have to go off. Brandon Miller needs to go off today. Again, um, Hornets fan, but I am objective at times, and this Hornets team won't be able to win with only Melo. He needs help. All right, that would be all for today for your podcast. Thanks for listening again. Thank you so much for giving me your time to listen to my crazy self, and hopefully, um, you like what you see. We're trying to get better every day, so please subscribe, like, and get click all notifications. We'll be making a video specifically for the tournament coming into week 6, where we are more organized, and hopefully you guys can join in and get a chance to win $50 gift card. Again, at the end of the season. So please, thanks so much. This has been Phantom Basketball. Let's get it.
Artlist.io.